for those of you that don't know me, my name is Brian Underwood. I'm one of the founders of Pruvit. And whenever we found the company, we started it about 5.5 years ago, but we did our first sale about 4 years ago. And when we started it, I was at a point in my life that I've been an entrepreneur for 27 years. My back was against the wall. I had just come off of a project where literally I lost everything. And when I say everything, not just money, because money's the easiest thing in the world to fix, by the way, just in case you all wanted. But, I lost my confidence because of that. I had just recently got married. I had kids, new kids, I guess I should say. So I had more responsibility in my life with the least amount of financial security. And, as a man, I just thought, I just felt worthless, right? So my confidence was at an all-time low. And I was very fortunate because I had a friend that believed in me. And the reason I'm sharing this with you all, because I think the message is important during this time. And someone asked me the other day, what's a tool for someone that might not have belief in themselves, or they're just learning this? And I said, well, my back was against the wall. And I had a friend of mine saying, look, you got to figure out what you want to do. You got to get back up on the horse. You got to go ride again. You can't just stop. If you stop, you'll die. And I was very fortunate. And I say this, I've probably said this a million times, but people have faith in those that have faith in other people. And so I don't know what I would have done if he hadn't have pushed me to say, go figure it out. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And at the time, the thing that I really wanted to do is what we're doing now. I wanted to have a conversation that had never been told. I wanted to bring value to the world. To me, I wanted to innovate. And by the pure definition of innovate is about bringing value to people that they didn't have before. So all of us on this phone, we've done that before. All of us can be innovators. But I wanted to build a business out of it, right, that could feed my family. And in order to build a business, you have to make profit. So the one thing that I knew is I wanted to create a consumable product because that is a fundamental business model that works, meaning you have a product, we pay X to manufacture it, consumers buy it for X. As long as we can operate the business properly, we can make a profit. And the reason I'm sharing that with you is before I stayed in technology, we were doing apps where it didn't have a fundamental, what they call revenue model, a fundamental way to collect money, right? It was kind of like all the Silicon Valley companies. They raise $50 million. They don't ever make any money, and then they sell it for $150 million. I didn't want to try that again. And so for me, the standard that I wanted was something that could bring value to the people, but it wasn't just something me too. It wasn't just like all the other stuff that's out there. And it took a while. I mean, it took literally 15 months to find this conversation. I found it by accident. My wife and I were drinking fat coffee. We were putting MCT oil and butter in the coffee because it was a big craze. It was on the front cover of Time magazine. But like we kept drinking it because like how good we felt, right? And at the time we were like blending it and, blending the butter and MCT oil, then pouring it in the coffee, and it was messy. But man, like we weren't getting as hungry. We're staying focused and like just energy out of this world. And so I had a business partner of mine that said he has an opportunity to get some patents on a product that could put your body into ketosis. I didn't know anything about ketosis. I just knew that when you're in ketosis, if you peed on this little stick, it would turn purple. And the reason I knew that is I had friends of mine that did, the Atkins diet, and they lost a bunch of weight. I could never do it because I'm the type of guy that like at night I eat a whole bag of Oreos, right? So I could never pee on that to turn it purple. And they said, yeah, one drink of this, and within 40 minutes, you can pee on that stick and turn it purple. And my mind was blown. I was like, I mean, if that can do that, because here's what I was thinking. I was thinking I could eat a chocolate cake and then drink the drink, and then my body would all of a sudden use the chocolate cake as fuel. But I learned pretty quickly that's not the way that it works. But I did say this from a marketing perspective. I said, listen, I'll say this to you is if that can happen, I can get 1 million people to buy it at least once. But my question is this good for you? And that's Pandora's box that I'm still learning to this day. And I'm so proud of what we're doing, not because of the level of success financially. The reason we're having success financially is because we're bringing value to the world. It's not because we're great salespeople, right? And so when I started learning about it, I went to my partner. I said, we have to do this. He said, man, I'm telling you, it can't work. I've tried it. You know, people like bend over, they stay on the toilet for 2 weeks. They double over in cramps on the ground because the original version tasted like Crisco oil mixed with seawater from the beach. I mean, you know, so you couldn't commercialize it. And he said, and it costs so much. The cost is so expensive because you got to understand, nobody was commercializing ketones. Like they were doing them in labs and stuff with these ketone salts. So our drink would have been probably about $50 a serving at that time because they were doing them in such small quantities. And I said, man, I just got it. It's not about weight loss. Like what these things do to your head and they're signaling. Like I learned all this stuff from these biochemists and I started listening to these podcasts. And he said, all right, well, I mean, we can figure it out. So make a long story short, because there's a longer version to it. It took us about 8 months to figure out our initial formula to where people could ingest it. And that was what I would consider the inception or the beginning of what is now not only the keto conversation, but you've seen the ketogenic diet and the word keto now, you know, fastly growing in the marketplace. But I truly believe that we are one of the initial initiators of it because we led with education first, which I think is so important. And we didn't know if it was going to work or not. If I was looking at you on the eyes, I would tell you, had no clue, right? Was hopeful, you know, we thought that it was unique, but we knew we had to bring it to market differently than just putting it on a shelf and trying to sell it. And I can tell you that we got a great foundation now. You got to understand when we launched it, the first 30 days, we got 17,000 orders back ordered, 17,000 orders back ordered. And if we didn't have the team in place and that we have, I don't think that we would ever be able to have survived that. And we've run into a lot of other challenges too. Don't misunderstand me, a lot, but like that's part of what you do in business and life. You overcome things. And if this is real, which I knew at that time, I said, we got to keep pushing. We got to stay the gold standard. And so today, the product that you guys are going to experience or get, or some of you that have already experienced it, it's like our 16th version of it. So we keep making it better based on innovation. And I can get in that in a minute, but it has so many applications. You know, I would love to say that we're just that great but we're not. We actually, to build something to last, you have to make the right decisions. You have to make the right priorities. And our priorities are people in our community. And then you have to have the right product.